I'm in Mesa, Arizona, and I did the oldest structures in Gilbert, Arizona, but I'd rather be in Sedona. I'd rather do that, but it is the weekend, and this is a big tip. Sedona is wonderful. Never go to Sedona on the weekends. As beautiful a place as that is, it's just ruined by all the crowds. Anyway, what I thought I would do is come down and look at the oldest structures in Mesa, Arizona. These are going to be the oldest structures of the white settlers, the Europeans. These are not the oldest structures in Mesa. This would actually be accurate to say it would be the canals, but I will do that in another video. This is what's left of one of the first Mormon settler structures. I'm in Pioneer Park in downtown Mesa. So I believe it was about 1877 that this was built, or 1878. A hardy band of Mormon pioneers arrived on this mesa, which is a giant butte. Arizona's honeymoon trail. This is wild. I mean, especially when you consider, like right now, it's about 110 degrees, and I'm hoping my camera doesn't die while I am filming this. But the people who settled here obviously did not have any AC. So, okay, this is the Pioneer Monument. The concept of this monument is a mural in stone symbolizing the accomplishments achieved by the pioneers in their development of this community. Yeah, it's rugged contour. You'd have to be pretty rugged to survive here in the summer without air conditioning. It is brutal. So I'm going to limit how much I film at each one. So I'm going to try to go to a few others here today and see how long my camera can survive. But this is Pioneer Park, kind of central to Mesa. Oh, what it's, I figured that they would have a plaque here. 1937, the Mesa, they invited residents to visit its demonstration home, which featured a refrigerated air conditioning system. Yes, you certainly have to have air conditioning here. These are some major achievements. Civil rights for all. I don't know about Mesa so much, but I do know for a fact that Tempe, which is west of here, Tempe, Arizona, well into the 60s, was a sundown. I think it's a sundown town. I've been out there before and did some videos, you know, about that, regarding that still segregated and racist, and that Tempe is well known for being a sundown town. This is the statues for the Pioneer Park here. It's Pioneer Park. Mesa Pioneer Monument. You had to be pretty tough, just for one, to get here, but to live here in the summer would be insane. I couldn't have done. I'll tell you right now, I could not have done it. Nope. I would have been well, hey, you're gonna have to call me to settle in Sedona or Prescott. Definitely not Mesa, Arizona. It's a nice little park though. The other one, now there is a historic building right down the street, and I know you didn't see it, but just on the other side of that corner, I did the video with the historic Main Street. That's actually Main Street, Mesa. Get back on Main Street and go to the next historic building, which is, this is 1878. I believe the next one was about 1896 or 1898, so it's a bit newer. All right, I am here at the next one, and this is the Pomeroy building. This was built in 1891. Gee, no air conditioning. Gosh, it's actually, and it's actually back up for sale. It's not too, I'm sure it's been updated. Plenty of pigeons. All right, we have a plaque here, built in 1891. This ranks among the city's oldest business establishments. I think this is one of Mesa's first buildings with electric. Wow. The second story Pomeroy Hall was used for well, one of the first ones with electricity. That is pretty cool. Yeah, Mesa, they did they revitalized a number of years ago. Wayne C. Pomeroy, born in Mesa, fourth generation Mason, whose great-grandfather Francis Marion Pomeroy organized the Mesa Company and founded Mesa in 1878. So they got these statues here. This is, of course, downtown Mesa. And we've got we came from there. Oh, I've not seen this one. I don't get to come down here that often. All right, so we got the Pomeroy building there, 1891. I can't film too much because my camera is probably not going to be able to take the heat much here. But I can't imagine being here in the summer like it is now. It is excruciatingly hot out here. So that's why I gotta kind of cut it quick. But the next historic building, you can't see it from here, but it's going to be on the other side there. It'll be on McDonald and Broadway. But this is the back side of the Pomeroy building, and this is all new. We came back here to park and I was like, whoa, there's a whole apartment structure here. But I'm glad they're not tearing the old buildings down. This is on the historic list. So, man, what? All right, very cool. Time to cool off and get to the next historic building here in Mesa. Got to take a quick stop. I was on my way to the third historic building here, one of the oldest historic buildings here in Mesa, Arizona, and I gotta see this. So this is I just actually noticed this. And this is why I had to turn around and come back, because get a load of that. I don't come down here that often, and it's been long enough that I have not seen that. The Arizona Museum of Natural History, they've really done a heck of a job of revitalization here in the downtown area. But this is really cool. Wow. Yeah. If you're trying to catch people's eyes dry, yeah, that did it. That definitely caught my eye. That was really cool. I'm gonna have to actually take an afternoon and come here. Very cool. Nice. All right, got to get back in the car and cool down for the next historic building. All right, for the third one, this was actually built much later than the earlier one. Even the Pomeroy building, the F.P. Neilson Sons. This is it is a crane elevator and tower built in 1938 and abandoned in 1976. They're in the corner of McDonald. It's on the corner of McDonald and Broadway. Not a very nice corner, not a nice section. So I'm not only risking death from the heat and the heat exhaustion, but I might actually have my camera taken, and we shall see. Not a very good area. Well, let's go around the back, because in the railroad tracks, so this is the back end, and you can see there's the railroad. Obviously Mesa. And the reason why Mesa is starting out much later than, let's say, Phoenix is because Mesa was primarily agricultural. It was not a mining town. So you'll always see that the earlier towns like Prescott were mining towns, and that's why they were founded much earlier than Mesa, Arizona. Obviously, a center for grain being, yeah, next to, makes sense to have it next to the railroad tracks here. Which side is actually the wrong side of the tracks? And I'm going to argue that Both. Yes, both. So if you do venture down here to this part of Mesa, Arizona, both sides are the wrong side of the track here in this part of the valley. But see if I can get a shot there. Yeah, well, it's been 40 years since this has been in operation, so, but it is on the historic list, so I'm guessing that's why they're not tearing it down. Well, we're going to get to the next one. The next one is a residential house that was built about 40 years some odd before the Neilson Sons grain elevator. So before my camera or I die, we'll get to that next house. All right, going to the last historic building here on Center Street, but I gotta point out, over there is the Mesa Amphitheater, and that is the scene of the most epic performance of Yellow Ledbetter that Pearl Jam ever did. Right across the street there, that's where, I mean, Mike stopped time with that insane solo. So definitely I'll have to link that so you can check that out. This is built in 1896. The Sirrine house, who came with the Mesa Company in 1878, Joel Sirrine, one of the original settlers here in Mesa, Arizona. And we've got a plaque here. You get that there. An example of Victorian architecture. I know I harp on it because it is 110 degrees or more out here right now in Mesa, but 1896, and although the roof doesn't look 1896, but I'm sure this has been remodeled before and upgraded. But to be here in 1896 when there was no AC, that is crazy. Oh, they've got a gazebo. This guy, one of the founders of Mesa, definitely had money. If you have a good, you know, if it's 1896 and you have a gazebo, so apparently he did well. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's not original. The windows do. That's quite the brickwork there. That is pretty cool. And the city owns this now, and I think it may be a museum. I think you can actually go inside. I don't know. Seeing that AC unit going, I would love to get in there right now, but I am going to have to cut this off for today. Oh, we have another plaque. Property has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, come on, people. All right. We got to get rid of the trash. We cannot leave the trash there. So that's just a few of the oldest buildings in Mesa, Arizona, the historic district here. A lot of the stuff right in this particular area is pretty old. But for me, I used to actually work at the Mesa Amphitheater, and so I saw a ton of shows here. Great outdoor venue to see, and so good times. But it is getting pretty hot now. I am going to have to cool off. I hope you enjoyed those few historic sites here in Mesa, Arizona.